Hey folks, how you doing? Cryptoso, hello. Billy, hello. French, hi. Nordic Beats, hello.
Costals,
Billy, hello. French,
Oops,
hi.
hang on.
There we go. Nordic Beats, hello.
Costals,
Billy, hello. There we go. Schoolboy error at the start, which is having the YouTube event open. So I could say, just hang on, I'm a bit late, and forgetting to turn off the sound. That is what they call in the streaming world a schoolboy error, one which I make all too frequently. So let me just mute that. I'll keep this up over there and just see how it's going. So yeah, the purpose of this today is basically to fill you in. It's almost like a little diary entry. So over on this Mike Mundaly channel, I am essentially demonstrating what I'm doing to launch this. It's like the behind the scenes of building, not really launching, it doesn't really work like that, building this magnet model music business from the ground up. That's different to what I'm doing over on the sort of the main channel, the one with 14,000 odd subscribers, which is where it's just, purely really coaching you. So, here I kind of feel a bit weird about talking about me and what I'm doing all the time, unless I get asked questions, of course, in the context of me coaching people. It just feels it feels wrong somehow, because really what's important is you. But at the same time, I recognize that actually seeing somebody, i.e. me, doing the very thing that I am teaching you and showing you what to do is also incredibly valuable. And also it's just nice to share, isn't it? So that's why I'm doing stuff on this Mike Mundaly channel. And it's actually separate to what I will be doing on a Zentor channel, because Zentor is the name of the band that I am building this business around. So when I do Zentor stuff, that is just going to be music, without the behind the scenes stuff so much, because one of the objections to a lot of the stuff that I talk about is, what about the mystery? Mike, what about the mystery? Isn't it important for musicians to have mystery? And you don't have to have mystery to be a musician, but there are musicians and bands who are mysterious, and that adds to their mystique, no doubt about it. It's one of the many buttons that you can push to get people and keep people interested. But the assumption that because I'm doing something over here on a Mike Mundaly channel, and that everybody who is in this stream and all of my subscribers on my YouTube stream, and let's just pretend that was true, that all of my subscribers on my YouTube channel knew that I was Zentor, or I was in Zentor, because here are my other band members. So let's just assume that everybody on my email list, everybody on my YouTube channel, all my Facebook likes, literally everyone in my ecosystem knew that Mike Mundaly was Zentor. Does that mean that most people who come across Zentor music are going to know that? No. Right. Like the vast, we're talking like a droplet of a droplet, like literally a molecule of people are going to know, well, maybe not molecule, I haven't done the math, but anyway, a tiny minority of the people are going to know that Zentor is me, right? So you can actually have it both ways. You can be mysterious, and you can also be open at the same time, right? And so that's one of the reasons I'm doing it like I am. So I don't exactly know what I'm going to do when I sort of start doing Zentor specific stuff. Maybe I will cover my face. Maybe I will wear a big cat mask. maybe a Centaur mask, like a horse mask or something, or maybe I'll just do it, just with this bald bloke playing stuff. I don't know, but the point is that I'm separating things out just to demonstrate some of the assumptions that people make about, like many of the assumptions people make about music are essentially stuck in the past. I'm having an interesting conversation with one of my team members, because a lot of the members on my team are actually musicians themselves, and the web developer, he's kind of in a group of people, and he sent me a screenshot of one of the people he knows that says, I'm not, I don't. It basically just says I don't want to release right now. It doesn't seem much point because you can't get the big exposure for your releases, and it's understandable that some people think that is the case. I mean, it's totally and utterly mistaken, but it's understandable. I'm not saying if you look at things in a particular frame, then it makes sense, because what that frame comes from is two music industries old. Okay, so we're now in a new music industry. So the frame that I don't want to release music because it won't get the big exposure isn't from the last music industry, which is currently dead in the water. Yeah, it's from the music industry before that. Okay, the frame before that. The assumption was, and it was true. I mean, this was the frame when I was releasing vinyl. Okay, so it was before digital. So as I said, two music industries ago, is that gigs promote releases. Yeah, the non-scalable item where I have to be present promotes releases. The scalable item. Okay, so if you believe that is true, if that's the assumption, if that's the frame you have around what you're doing, it makes total sense not to be releasing anything, right? Because gigs, which we can't do, promote releases. Now, that frame, as I said, is two industries old, which now means, because what happened with the internet, and some people obviously never caught up with this, which is, again, understandable. I think this guy, he said, was a promoter, so it makes sense that he would think like that. Yeah, I'm not saying he's wrong exactly. I mean, it's just that he's missing something. Yeah, it's interesting how people can be right within the frame in which they exist. So it's not that they're lying. It's not that they're wrong exactly. It's just that they're missing something. Yeah. So then the internet came along, and what actually happened to the business model of musicians is that it flipped. So instead of the frame being gigs promote releases, releases promote gigs, right? That's basically what happened. The scalable item promoted the releases. No, sorry. Sorry, I'm going to get this the wrong way around. Yeah, that's right. The releases promoted the gigs. Yes, so it was that gigs promoted releases, but now releases promote gigs. It was like the releases were the business cards which said, look, you need to book me. Okay? And, as I said, a lot of people never ever caught up with that new frame. Right? Now, there's an inherent, this is why I say that the last music industry, so we're, one music industry away from what that guy said, yeah? The last music industry, there's a problem with that business model in that if you have the promotional item is the scalable thing, and the non-scalable thing is, that you are promoting is the thing that you're promoting, that means it's not sustainable because you have to be present to make the money. Whereas when it's the other way around, it was great because you did some gigs in order to promote the release, and then it was scalable, so it kind of took off on its own. You didn't have to be present in order for the money to be made. Okay, so one music industry ago, the one that's now, unfortunately, tragically, I'm very sorry about it, dead in the water, where we are in a situation where releases, hang on a minute, get this right way around. Yeah, gigs promote releases. Okay, so our friend who says that releasing, there's no point right now because there are no gigs, it's kind of true. Because then how am I going to promote the releases? Yeah, it's kind of true. But surely the next question is, well, then how do I promote my release instead? Yeah. And it's really interesting about the big exposure thing. Because when you think about it, a gig, even if it's the biggest gig you could possibly think of, is actually, when you compare it to what you can do on the internet, tiny. Right? Yeah, even like 100,000 people is minuscule compared to what you can do on the internet. In my coaching business, in Make Music Your Life, the one video, the one ad that I've been running for the last 5 years has been seen literally millions of times. Show me a gig where I can have a million eyes on it, right? Okay, so now we're into the new music industry, the current music industry, the one that is, I mean, it's not really a music industry yet because it's so tiny, you know, because people haven't got this. Yeah. There's a different frame now. Yeah. And this is the frame that I am jumping up and down about, banging the drum about, because I think it's really, it has the possibility to be sustainable, to not kill people from, you know, through touring. So that you can tour when gigs come back, but you don't have to. Yeah. And the frame is, so let's just recap. 2 music industries ago, the frame was gigs, promote, releases. Yeah. 1 music industry ago, the frame was releases, promote, gigs. Now, the frame is gigs, if you want to do them, and releases, and anything else you might want to do, promote your tribe. Okay? That is a sustainable situation. Basically, releases, gigs, let's just call it content. I hate calling music content. I really do. Because content is such a sort of the word. Yeah. But that's what that's basically what it is. Yeah. Music is a form of content. Sorry. but in terms of what I'm talking about now, and in terms of what I'm talking about now, music, let's just call it a form of content, right? So content promotes your tribe. Yeah, membership to your tribe, if you like. That is the thing that you are promoting, if you like. And then, so when you see things through that frame, all of a sudden, it kind of changes the way that you see everything and what you think is important. In that frame, does it make any sense to say, well, I'm not going to release anything because it won't get a big exposure? Does it make any sense whatsoever? No. It's almost like the opposite thing that you want to be doing. Yeah, because the release itself is the thing that will promote the thing. So if you don't release, you're not going to be doing any promotion. Releases are one of the promotional thing, like assets, if you like, that you need to be using. Yeah, along with other things. And yes, gigs do come into that as well. They're one of the great strengths of gigs that I don't feel like any other form of, because again, let's call just a gig another form of content. Yeah. It's like a package of value or something. Yeah. So one of the strengths where it's sort of the only thing that does this is that you can instantly turn somebody into a kind of true believer at a gig, because you can deliver to them an experience the like of which they've never had before, because it's in person and there's the lights and there's a big crowds and there's this tribal thing going on, and there's all of that, and you see all these other people who are really into this thing, so you're validated, and it's a huge kind of, it's so powerful, a good gig, that it will always, until kind of VR really comes along or whatever, it will always have a special place. So I'm definitely not anti gigs, right? But it's not the only thing. You don't have to, in this frame, when over time when you make it work. What we're really talking about is the magnet model. You don't have to do all these gigs in order to make the money, because your tribe are the people who are going to give you money for the value that you provide. for the unique value that you provide. And, before you say, yeah, but if every musician did this, there aren't enough people. That's not true. Because in this frame, each, like the average member of your tribe in this new frame is going to be giving you more money than one music industry ago or two music industries ago. It doesn't require as big audiences. Okay? So that is the kind of context around which I'm building this business. I'm essentially, and it's a long ball game. I'm not concerned right now that there are however many people there are on, 15 people on. Because all I'm concerned about right now is that you are engaging with me closely. Right? And this is something you want to get your head around. Like, what numbers are you focused on? Because I don't focus on number of views. I don't focus on number of plays. Let me ask you a question. What do you think I focus on instead? Type in the chat. What do you think I focus on instead if I'm not focused on number of views and number of plays? And I'm sure that some of the people, because I recognize them, some of you may well know the answer to this question because you're leapers. What do you think I focus on if it isn't number of views or number of plays in terms of numbers? Right. Muirfly says engagement. Hi, Muirfly. Yeah, Billy, nice one. Number of people who stay. Interactions. Maybe not, number of people who stay for how long? Yeah. Yeah. So the value of it, the value of the engagement. It's like, instead of focusing on width, I focus on depth of relationship. Why? Because when you deliver value to a person, like consistently, like a greater value to a person, you become more valuable to them. Just think about like what we do at Make Music Your Life, for instance, and how that works for you. How valuable is Make Music Your Life to you? What would your life be like? And we've got, various people who are new, newer friends here, and people who have been, around for years and years. But just think about how valuable what we do at Make Music Your Life is to you, right? It's absolutely, it grows over time. And if Make Music Your Life suddenly just disappeared, you would feel a hole. I mean, I'm not banging my own drum here, but it's just, I kind of know it because I have the same relationship with other kind of companies like mine, and other businesses like mine. Yeah, it's like you would feel a hole. And let's not talk about Make Music Your Life. I'm going to talk about my number one coach instead. It's a guy called Dean Jackson. And we have a one-to-one thing, and so. If he suddenly stopped doing what he was doing, it would be pretty devastating to me. It would be a problem, because it's almost like he's ascended to the level of friend. Yeah. And that is what this new business model is all about. It's about depth of relationship over the long haul. Yeah. Lifetime fans, building relationships with people, real relationships over the internet, usually real relationships with people. And I know that for some people, when they're sort of at the start of their journey, or maybe they come from the last music industry or the music industry before, that can seem a bit scary, but it's not. I can promise you it's not. Okay. So I'm now going to talk about the music itself. So, I just wanted to give you a bit of context about why I'm doing what I'm doing here, and the thinking behind it, because that's really the point of these sort of diary entries. And by the way, just on another note, I've thought long and hard about this whole building a music business from the ground up. And some people have said, if you were really going to do that, would you be promoting Zentor to your Make Music Your Life people? Yeah, to us. And the answer is yes, because where the magnet model starts is with people you already know. Okay, so if you've got a day job, for instance, say, I don't know, you're a software developer. Yeah, one of the first places that you would go to get people to come and watch your stuff is to the people that you know in that job. Yeah, so let's call my day job Make Music Your Life. Yeah, now, luckily, well, maybe not luckily, but yeah, obviously the people who are in Make Music Your Life are into music, so I do have a benefit there. I mean, that is obviously somewhat intentional, but the principle remains the same. You start with the people you already know. Yeah, that's where it starts. Yeah, and as long as you can have one person who's regularly coming to your thing, that's enough to get started. Yeah. Some people on YouTube who have absolutely massive YouTube channels didn't know anyone, right? They didn't have, they didn't know anyone at all. They just started making videos. And it is a long ball game. And it is something that requires that you believe that it's going to work when it feels like it's not. That's something, well, it might feel like it's not, if you're obsessed about the wrong numbers. Okay, so let's come back to the music itself. So, and Joanna says email addresses to my question, and that's a good answer. And I think email addresses is simply it's almost like an indication of a higher level of engagement. Really, the way I view my actual tribe are the people who are on my email list. That's my real tribe. I mean, now I've got the Discord community over at Make Music Your Life as well. That does mean, I mean, that kind of feels like my tribe as well. So Discord is another kind of opportunity, if you like, in that sense, but it's still not the same as email. Anyway, so I'm going to get to the music, because that's the sort of the point of this. I mean, not playing the music, telling you about the music. So, as the last couple of weeks have literally, I'm not overstating it, have literally been the most sort of rocket-like of my musical life. I mean, there's just no competition. It's been crazy. I can't. It's been like, what is happening? And it kind of feels like the everything that I've done up until now has sort of led to this moment, which is obviously true of any moment. But what I mean is, it kind of feels like all of the pieces have fallen into place musically. And it doesn't mean that I've arrived, because, I mean, even just from this week onwards, there's like a little bit of, what about this? What about that? Yeah. So it's a constantly evolving thing. That's one of the really important things I want you to take from this. But really what it is right now is that I feel like I'm no longer chasing my sound. I'm discovering it. Okay. And I'll come to what the meaning of that is. In fact, while I talk, can you just have a think and post in the chat, what do you think I mean is the difference between chasing my sound and discovering my sound? Because I think it's a really important distinction that will help you. So one of the, well, let's back up a bit. So in the context of this magnet model business, building this magnet model business, last year I decided, particularly after the pandemic hit, so I took exactly the opposite view of our promoter friend who I was talking about before, who said, I'm not going to do releases because they're not going to get the big exposure. Yeah, but I was like, okay, the pandemic's hit. Now is the best time to be releasing a lot of music that I've ever experienced in my entire life. Okay, so with that, I said, I'm going to release a track a week in 2021, and then I told everyone about it, and try to motivate a lot of other people to do the same, and it's worked. There's a bunch of people who are doing this, which is really, really great. And so I started working towards this at the start of last year, and essentially I was doing it in a DAW. Yeah, so I was, I was getting really zeroed in on my sound, right? In fact, let me play you a bit. That might actually be helpful. Let me play you what it is. And apologies for being a little bit all over the place. All right, how do I share the screen? Just trying to make sure. There we go. Studio cams. If I do that, and then just so you know what's going on. The reason I'm a bit confused is because I'm on a different. Ecamm profile. There we go. I'm on a different Ecamm profile, which means that I have to use key commands rather than my Stream Deck. No, that's not right. That'll do. Anyway, all right. So, if we go here, where are we? Actually, what I'll do is I'll do it from here. I'll do it from my automatic music machine. That will be easier. Oh, no, we don't want that. That's a mastermind board. Okay, yeah, all right. So there we go. Released. Yeah, all right. So I'll just play this. Now this was a track. It's a bit of a kind of Christmas track that I did. Oh, hang on a minute. That's the wrong board too. There we go. Let's play this. Oh, it's not the final version. Damn. Where can I go? Sorry about this, folks. Oh, here we are. Right, okay. Yeah. So it's a very, very, very happy track, and it's meant to kind of describe Christmas morning with my children. So let's just check. I've got the sound all good. Where's the sound from? And a minute. Sorry, folks. Come on. Ecamm, where are you? There we go. Output. Window. Sound. Levels. There you are. Right. I just wanted to check that you could hear that. Right. Okay, I just had to get to a resolution point because it's really annoying if you don't. So that was the kind of thing that I was doing, because the point of Zentor is music. Man and machine. Yeah, it's like investigating the intersection of it, because the reason for the name Zentor is because of Gary Kasparov, in fact. Because I don't know whether you know this, but what do you think or who do you think is the best chess player in the world? Who do you think is the best chess player in the world? And before you say something like DeepMind or AI, an AI, or some chess grandmaster, no, it's not. It's actually a combination of the two, which is called a centaur, a machine and human beings. That is the best chess player in the world right now. And when I heard that, and it's called a centaur, right? And so when I heard that, I was like, well, that's super interesting, because maybe the best music, I mean, literally we are kind of centaurs in a way when we make music, aren't we? Already. I mean, a violin, no, Murtaza, it isn't a computer. It's not a computer. It's a human and a computer together. Yeah. So even a violin player is a form of centaur, if you like. And I think that this is one of the most important questions of our time, which is about the use of technology and how it's changing us, and whether all of that kind of stuff. And it felt like something that I would really like to investigate in my music, because I'm super interested in technology as a whole, and also specifically music technology as well. So that's what Zentor is about. I thought, well, if I have, because one of the things that I've been missing since I've been making music in my previous career was interaction with a band, because that's how I started making music all the time. It was that thing when you're playing live and you've got this kind of interaction going with the band. So I thought, well, how about I set up a sequencer or bunch of sequences, and so I set that up, and then it plays according to various different probabilities, and then I improvise over the top, because then that becomes me and the band. It's almost like the band is me playing with the machines, literally, in real time. So that piece there that I just played you, the very cheesy one, and the one that describes Christmas morning with my beautiful children before they all completely and utterly lose their beep and turn into devils, by the way. So it's like this kind of idealized version of Christmas. And so I released it actually on Christmas Day, which was the first release of the year, even though it was a few days early. So that was essentially a kind of bell sound on Pigments, on Arturia Pigments, which is a great soft synth, by the way. It's awesome. Arturia Pigments, and me literally just improvising over the top. Okay, just two parts. And the reason it was two parts was because I was like, well, if I'm going to do this track a week thing, and it's going to be good, it needs to be really simple at this point, because I haven't yet built the capability to make it anything other than really simple. Yeah, and the simpler it is, the easier it is to be good, in a way, kind of. The less time it takes, at least, as long as you have the ability to be good when you're being simple, right? Because you've got less to concern yourself with. Okay, and it was really, really a very valuable experience for me to make that music. There was a bunch of other music I had at the end of the year as well. I think it was about 8 tracks. I was about to finish 8 tracks. So then what happened was the Santa brought me a present, which I'd been banging on about for years. Maybe she'll warm up and get a bit more friendly later on. So, camera, where are we? Oh, mute. Sorry. Sorry about that. Right. It's this thing about Ecamm Live where it keeps on remembering the last thing that you did. In terms of the muting, I've got to sort that out. Hang on, that's not right. I'm trying to get the right camera going here. As you can see, I'm not quite prepared for this in the way that I would like to be. Oh, man. Hang on. swap cameras. All right, and then this one. There we go. That's what I wanted to do. Right. So, well, say hello, Sub Harmonicon. She's a very nice person. But she seems to be in a bit of a bad mood today, so we'll just leave her alone for now. Yeah, no, I understand. When I go to what it is that the last time I was on that on that combination of screens, I must have muted my mic, which meant it remembered that situation. So what I'm going to have to do, what I'll do actually, is I will lock it. Hang on. Let's go like that. Whee! Yeah, this is all Ecamm Live stuff I'm doing here, and then what I can do, I think, I'll worry about that later. All right, I just won't mute myself. Okay, so Santa bought me that thing, and at first I played with it and on the kitchen table, and I was like, oh God, I don't know how this works. It's like, sounds terrible. But then I briefly read the manual, and I got it, and I put it on, and I was like, whoa! And I had this sort of thought. Well, at first, what I started doing was I started just using it as an instrument with the other people who I already had. One of which is Mother. Say hello, Mother. All right. Yeah. Mother's obviously feeling a bit peaky today as well. So, and also, let's see if DFAM can say hello as well. Hang on, where are we? Oh, I see. Okay, let's just put you in there. And DFAM, who was the first member of the band who came along. Hang on, there we go. What's going on? What's going on? What's going on? Maybe this one. Oh, I know what to do. There we go. Yeah, DFAM's feeling a bit scratchy as well. It's like, they've obviously had a bad night's sleep, the other members of the band. All right. So I had DFAM first, then Mother, and then Sub Harmonicon. And what I started doing when I got it was kind of using them as you would in a DAW. Like, it's almost like I'm merging parts and I'm putting them in, I'm recording them into the DAW, and then then I was like, well, if I really do want to do this man versus machine thing, or not man versus machine, man with machine thing, then leaf blower. God, I don't know what it is about people with leaf blowers around here. There's my head in. Right. I was like, well, how about I try just playing along with them? So that was the next stage. I essentially had a MIDI clock coming from the computer to playing the Sub Harmonicon, and then I improvised over the top and recorded things in. And that was great. That was like the first explosion. I was like, whoa, this is amazing! Because it was just like, I don't know what it is about. Well, for one thing, they sound great. Yeah, they just have a really, really nice, Moogs just sound beautiful already. But this is a mistake that I really want, like, if there's one thing you take from this live stream, I really, really want you to kind of just understand this. Yeah, it is not because they sound great that the music is good. It is an element of why the music sounds great, without a shadow of a doubt, but it's not because I have the Moogs, right? It's because the context in which the Moogs were put. Yeah, and the context means all kinds of things. It means what I'm doing with them, how I'm using them, and also all of the stuff that had led up to this point. So remember, I'm improvising my piano thing because I'm really looking to develop my unique style. Yeah, so I've decided to put Moogs. Well, not Moogs. I didn't decide to put Moogs, but I decided to do sequences with piano. Yeah. And with the addition of the subharmonicon, I realized I could remove the soft synths from the equation and they could be the sequences. Because the thing is about subharmonicon and DFAM, and actually the Mother has one too, but I don't use the sequencer in the Mother. I don't like it. Sorry about that, Mother. I hope it doesn't upset you too much. Yeah, no, he's a bit upset about that, but yeah, shh, calm down. So the I don't use the sequencer in the Mother. I actually some of these leads are telling Mother when to play. Okay, so this has 2 sequences in it, which are kind of combined in a way, and this has 1 sequencer in it here, right? So I'd already determined that part of my sound was going to be me improvising music over the top of sequences, and I realized that with this setup, because now the subharmonicon is great at doing sort of repetitive melodies and chords. The DFAM is great at doing kind of bass-liney rhythm. It's not really drums. It's kind of like bass-liney rhythmic drum things. Yeah, and the Mother is just more of a kind of very simple monosynth, really. Although you can make it sound like a polyphonic, like a duophonic synth at the same time by doing various different things. So essentially, I'd got all of the members of the band, right? Drums and bass, high mid, low mid, high, whatever you want to call it, and me playing over the top. Yeah, I got all of the members of the band. So within that context, these, because they sound good, are good, right? Because I'm doing something specific. I'm very intentional about how I'm using them. Okay, and what's more is that, and I'll come to this in a second, because I can prove that it's not just that they're Moog, that I've got these Moogs. I keep on calling them Moogs. I know they're meant to be called Moogs, anyway. So sorry guys. So it's not just that it's not just that they are Moogs. Yes, it's great that they sound great, but I was doing the same thing with other stuff, and yeah, it wouldn't have sounded the same, but it sounded good. Yeah, I mean, I prefer this personally, but it sounded good before. So it's not get this set up and you will make music that sounds good. It's like it has to come into an intentional context. What am I actually doing? How am I going to use these? And that doesn't mean you have to use them like me, or you don't want to be using them like me, because you're not me. You want to be using them like you. You want to be knowing why you're using them and how you're using them. That is what makes them good. They are simply tools. They're bloody good tools. There's no doubt about it, right? I don't know whether there are actually better tools for exactly what I want to do. And that's kind of what I mean by it feels like these two particularly feel like they were made for me. I mean, obviously they weren't, but it's like I think there's a particular guy who works at Moog. I can't remember his name. And he's a bit of a kind of crazy genius, and it's almost like he has this, like he understands, or not understands, he thinks about music and the making of music in the same way that I do. I can just feel, it's almost like I feel like I have a connection with him, because it's like I just get it. I just totally get what these things are for. I mean, when I say I totally get it, I'm not familiar with everything they do. I wouldn't be able to tell you all of the functions. I only vaguely understand some of what these holes do. Yeah, but it's almost like what they actually are, how they work, like what the way that you use them in order to make them sing. It's like I just get it on a. It's like it just this is what I want from a machine. Yeah, this is what a machine to me wants to be. So. Yes, it is the machines. It totally is the machines in one way, but in another way, it totally isn't the machines, right? It's not just the machines. I think that's the point, because I'll give you another, proof. This is true. So at the weekend, I decided to try. Where are you? Try welcoming another band member. Because as I said, DFAM, much as I love him, he's a great friend. the kind of rhythm that he makes. In fact, I'll just play a bit right now. Hang on a minute. I wasn't. Hang on. So, that sounds like a fairly normal kick drum. Yeah? You could imagine that in a sort of some kind of, slow, very slow, but no, actually not so slow. About 1-2-6 club track, yeah? Yeah. But in order to create snare drums, because there's only one, I mean, you've actually got two oscillators, yeah? But you need to actually, so I've got, you need to do things like this, hang on. Ooh. Wow, that's amazing. What am I doing there? All right, so subharmonicon is telling DFAM to go all triplety. So but anyway, so what you need to do is you need to basically tell the DFAM to play the noise when you've got it connected to one of these sequencer knobs here. I won't go deeply into it, but basically that's how you get snare drums. And it's very, very, I mean, you can do it, but it's very hard to get snare drums and hi-hat. So it's not really like a drum. It's not really like, I mean, it is a drum machine in a way, but it's not really a drum machine. It's almost like something else. It's something that is its own own thing, right? Shh, hush. There we go. All right. So where was I? Oh yes. So what I did was, and I was like, well, it would be really interesting to know what it would be like to have a bit more of because the stuff that I've been doing, it's got a real sound to it, but it's like the limitation of the DFAM means that you don't ever get that like kind of pounding. I mean, you do get a pounding, but it's not like, how would you describe it? Like the Moogs together are like this unit, which is great. I love that about it. But I wanted to see what it would be like if you added it's a discrete, that's the word, a discrete drum set. Yeah. So it's like, here's a drum kit kind of thing. Yeah. So I had one of these. Yeah. So what I did at the weekend was I put this into the thing, and I basically put the sync in of this, out of the clock of there. Oh yeah, and in the interim, by the way, I stopped using the DAW. Aside from recording things in. In fact, I'll come to that later. But let's just talk about the instruments and stuff. So this isn't going to be in chronological order. It's going to be in subject order. Right. So I was like, okay, I'm going to try a discrete drum set. Yeah. And so I got the Korg, little Korg Volca in, plugged it in, and then started playing with it. And at first I was like, oh God, this is amazing. This is absolutely brilliant. Right. So I had it going in, and I was playing, and it was really interesting because it was better in some ways, because it was more accessible. It sounded more like other stuff. Okay, it sounded more like other electronic music, because it had a discrete drum thing going on, yeah, with these things over the top and me playing. But there was something about it that was fundamentally not what I wanted to do. Right? There was something about it that was it killed something. One of the things it killed was that something like this is very, very tied. I mean, I suppose I could. No, I mean, it pretty much is tied to 4s and 8s and 16s, right? Whereas these beautiful machines aren't tied to that. They repeat in unusual ways. I mean, this has got 8, but because it's kind of connected, it just works in a different way, basically. Because you can tell this to play. I mean, these sequences are polyrhythmic. So you get these loops, which it's almost like you can't work out where the 1 is. Right, and it's really interesting because when you listen to something like Happy Place, the thing I played you before, which was from the Pigments thing, it's the same. You don't know where the 1 is, and I really, really enjoy that. That was something that I was encouraging even in my DAW music. So that's another reason why Subharmonicon, bless her, it feels like she was made for me, because that was what my stuff. It was like there would be 7 bars here, and then it would go on to the 1 there, and then there would be 13 bars. It was just like that because it was me improvising and just sort of going with whatever happened. And that is what this thing here, and that's why I don't use this sequencer either. That is what this basically does. It creates this, where is the 1? I mean, sometimes you get the 1 and the 4, but not always. Yeah. And what bringing Volker, and I'm sorry, little boy. I had to sack you. But it was literally, I did one session. I thought, this is great at first, and in many ways it's better. But I rejected it. I was like, no, I'm not going to do that. I'm actually not going to do that. And never say never. I may well bring in a drum machine in the future. But at this point, I'm just not going to do it because in terms of the time, the rhythm, it was less interesting. And it took away from what was amazing about this, and it moved me away from what I was doing already with Zentor. Yeah, it became more vanilla, if you like. And what I'm, going back to, trying to find, building your audience. You're actually looking to be more unique and disqualify more people, because the people who you do find are going to be that much more into what you do. If you are less popular, I know that seems weird, doesn't it? But that's kind of how it works. Yeah, I mean, I'm not saying make kind of music that I don't know, even that, like music that a lot of people hate. Some people are going to absolutely adore because you're the only person doing it. Okay, so that was why. So I rejected this. So again, it's not about the equipment, but it totally is about the equipment at the same time. It's about the choices you make with the equipment. It's about saying no. Yeah? It's actually much more about saying no than it is about saying yes. And this is why I say it's not about the equipment. Because it's, as I said, if you're looking to be unique and that's about saying no, it's not about getting more equipment. So you've just got everything, so you've got loads. It's about getting the right equipment for you and what you are trying to do. In other words, it's totally about the equipment, but it's totally not about the equipment, as I keep saying. That's the point here. Right? And sometimes that does mean getting things that you say no to. But there's no point in buying something and just using it because you bought it. Right? So then the next thing that happened, this was at the weekend as well, was this old girl. Now she's a little bit ancient, and in fact I actually even had a go with him as well. And what I was trying with the Prophet was because I was thinking, well, maybe I can improvise. Yeah, I can just use it as an improvisation thing. So it's not connected to the clock or anything. I can just use sounds. And I almost instantly rejected the Prophet. I tried playing over the top, and it was just there was something about the sonic qualities of it that wasn't doing it for me. I was happy with the sounds that I've got there. So I kind of rejected that again. Never say never, but I rejected that as well for now. Okay, so I'm not using the Prophet. But then I thought, well, let's see what the Roland sounds like. So I did this on, over the weekend when I kind of wasn't doing anything else. So I was just trying different things to see what they added. So the great thing about the SH7 is that it is actually, I know it doesn't look like it, but it is actually semi-modular because it's got a CV hole and a gate hole and a trigger input hole in the back, and it's got those outputs as well. So what I did was I took a lead out of here and I plugged two and plugged them in the back of there, and essentially I got the mother to tell the SH7 to play whatever it was playing. And there's actually a video on this channel called Roland Returns where I actually use it. Okay, so I think the SH7 may well make a return because it's got a different sound to it, which kind of adds another texture, another color. However, I'm not using it right. Like that's not the priority at this point, because it's like one thing I did find when I did the Roland Returns album. Yeah, one thing I did find was that it was like there was a lot to think about, and I hadn't yet really mastered the stuff that I had. Okay. So essentially what I'd come to, so I'd said no to the Volca because it made it less me and more vanilla. Yeah. I said no to the Rev 2 because it kind of the sonics of it it's like it took something away, and I preferred the sort of almost like very digital and clean, soft. It's like a piano modeling thing. The combination of those two things also make it sound like me. And I realized that the less sounds that I use for my improvisation, the more it's going to sound like me. Yeah. So piano and that Vangelis synth. So I'm going to stick with that for now. Yeah. And I said maybe to this SH7, but I said no to it for now because it was too much kind of information for me to process to do it well. I mean, I quite like the Roland Returns thing, as far as I remember. It went quite well, but it was like the experience of doing it meant that I wasn't getting as deeply into the zone as I was with these guys and just playing, right? So essentially now I'm at the point, well, I'm kind of almost like back to square one in a way, because I've said no to everything that isn't what I was already doing. So what is the problem that I'm actually trying to solve here? The problem that I was trying to solve here is that I don't want to get complacent. Okay? I don't want to lose the excitement. This has to be an ongoing journey of discovery. It simply has to be. There's no option. If I rest on my laurels and just do the same thing over and over again, I know me, I know my brain, I'm going to get stale. It's not going to be, the music's not going to be as on the edge. The music's not going to have the same energy. It's not going to have the same vibe. It's not going to be as exciting to me. And I presume, the assumption is, to other people. So I need to be innovating all the time with what I'm doing. Again, it's not about the gear, but it is about the gear. Yeah. So I need to be thinking about how to use this gear, how to move forward. So I rejected all of the pieces of kit that I kind of already had in terms of sound making devices, and thought, right, what are the different things that I could do to make it more difficult for myself, to complicate things slightly, just a little bit, so that I am constantly moving forward and I'm always really engaged with it. I'm always just on that edge of things that might go wrong, right? I mean, that can happen anyway, but you know what I mean? It's almost like there's something that's kind of always being pushed forward. So the first thing that I tried, I was like, well, how about, hang on, let me just share the screen again. How about looping? Now I do actually have a hardware looper, but I thought I'd just try it in the DAW first, just to give it a go. right? So I've got this plugin called Enso, and it's a great little looper. And so I tried that, yeah, on the piano, yeah. But at this point, and this is something that I am going to do, it's on the docket for something to add, yeah. It's basically so that I can play a little motif, hit loop, and then it will start repeating at the top, and then I can play something else, because that will add a whole nother dimension to the music. But what I realized was, because I'm not going off the clock of the DAW, so at the moment this is going at 103 BPM, yeah. But if I play the machines, I mean, I can go any time. Hang on. Right. Yeah, so I can go really fast. Yeah, but as you can see, oh, no, you can't see. Oh, no, hang on. There you go. The DAW is still at 103. Yeah. So as you can see, I'm not clocked to the DAW at all. And the problem is with that is that in terms of my skill level, me actually using a looper without without the kind of quantization that you can do, where it's like, okay, so make sure that the loop ends exactly on the beat. So I'm not able to do that yet. So one of the things I am doing, and one of the reasons that Enso is in my is in my template on the piano, and I'll actually mute it for now, but is because what I'm doing every day is just a little 10-minute practice of looping with Enso and the machines. Yeah. Something else that, oh God, I keep pressing the wrong button. Sorry, I don't mean to keep on promoting my Bandcamp. That's definitely not what I'm here to do on this video, anyway. But one thing I could actually do, and it has struck me, is that I could actually clock my hardware looper, which is a Boss RC505. I could clock that to this stuff and do that. And in fact, I may well do that at some point, but not now, because I think there are other opportunities which are smaller steps and which will kind of provide a kind of additional level of interest for me and kind of interest to the music as well. Okay. So next step was this. Can you see that? I was like, I've got this, this Kenton Pro Solo Mark III, which is how I used to when I was using the SH7 in the DAW. It's basically a little CV, MIDI to CV converter, but it's got, basically you can set, it's got what, how many holes? 1, 2, it's got 5 holes basically, and you can set those holes to send different signals. So hopefully this works. So what I did was, you can set these holes to do an LFO. Okay, so let me just show you. What am I doing? All right, let's press play. I've got this subharmonic on, is on some really weird notes. Let's try. Right, that's a little bit more harmonic, just so that we don't kind of feel so angry all the time. Right, so I think I should, in theory, he says, famous last words. Right, so I've got this thing plugged in to cutoff. Okay, so on here, why is that not working? All right. All right, what I'm going to do is I'm going to try it on the... Oh, there we go, yeah, okay. So you can hear it there. On the mother, yeah, because I've got this hole plugged into here. So you can hear that LFO controlling the cutoff. And let's see if I can actually change the... amount that it does it. Hang on a minute, maybe it's not working. Hang on. Hang on. Yeah, there you go. You hear that? So you can hear that's not, let's just turn up the resonance so you can really hear it. And turn down that. There you go, that's definitely the LFO coming from there and affecting the cutoff. Yeah. So there I've got basically another, quiet now. So there basically I've got another thing that I can do. Yeah, but it's a bit clunky, right? Having to do this. Now I can basically set this to be controlled by other things, which I'll come to in a second. In fact, I'll come to it right now. Because then I thought, well, the other thing that I've got is this, which is the Arturia beat step, and essentially one of the issues I've had, well, not really an issue, but one of the frustrations I've had with the Mother 32 is because I'm not using the sequencer in it. And the reason I'm not using the sequencer in the Mother 32 is that there's too much. There isn't really a menu because you can't see it, but it's too much menu diving, and that in order to do things you need to push combinations of buttons on the sequencer, and it's just not what I want to do. I want it to be immediate. I want to be able to perform it immediately, and you can do that with the Mother 32, but it's just not the way in which I want to do it at this point. I may well bring the sequencer in on the Mother 32, but there's just something about the way that you sequence it that doesn't jive with me so well. The great thing about that using this though is that I can actually, because one of the problems is the only way that I was getting the Mother 32 to play was essentially it was playing the subharmonicon, was telling it what to play and when. But I wanted it to do to be able to change it in real time more, like the notes. Now I'm not sure I've actually got it set up because I was setting up things differently, so I can't actually show you. I'll show you in another on another occasion. But essentially, what it now means is that I can in real time immediately play program notes from that sequencer, and while the rhythm is being played by the subharmonicon, I can actually change the notes using the Arturia beat step, and it's visual. I can see it. It's right. I mean, I don't have to menu dive and I have to press combinations of keys in order to get there. It's just I can go bip, 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 and it will play what it needs to play. Yeah, or what I want it to play. Okay, so now I can change the notes on the Mother 32 as well. So essentially, the point of all of this is to really show how I'm pushing things forward. How I'm not looking for the perfect setup. That's not what I'm doing. I'm not trying to reach a point where everything is right. That's not what I'm doing. I'm not looking for the perfect gear. I'm looking for ways in which the gear will help me. Or it's almost like it's not just about me, and it's not just about the gear. It's about the intersection of those two things, which means that there isn't a perfect setup. Yeah, and I recognize as soon as I reach a setup where I'm making great music, that's when I need to think about what to add, what to change next. Not completely, but a little bit. Because as you can see, what I've actually decided to go with is just a simple extra LFO affecting, the filter at the moment. I could do other things as well. And also being able to change the notes on the Mother without using the Mother internal sequencer. Okay, so, and the moment that I reach a point at which things are really, really working It's almost like I've got a laundry list of things that I could do next, things that I could add next. I've got something that I am working on, I'm practicing to add later, which is the looping, right? So it's like an ongoing journey. So when I see people say things like, I can only make music when the setup is perfect, I'm making the music in order to figure out what to do next. It's an ongoing journey. It's not that. I think this is the thing that people think about with gear. This is the mistake that they make. They think it's the magic button. It's the thing that will do the thing, and then I'll be ready to make music. No, you are making music in order to figure out what to do. It's like the opposite way around. Yeah. You're using the tools to explore because you've got maybe you've got a concept like I do. Maybe you don't. Maybe you want to, what is the purpose of your music? What is its actual purpose for you? So with Zentor, the purpose of the music is to investigate the intersection between humans and technology. That's its kind of purpose. Now, that's a very conceptual purpose, and you don't need a conceptual purpose like that. It could be simply, the purpose of my music is to make people dance. Yeah? Or it could be, the purpose of my music is to build a tribe of people who like these elements or something. There could be all kinds of different purposes. But when you're clear on the purpose, then really the tools are now available for you to deliver on that purpose, and you have decided the purpose. The purpose comes first. You come first, and then you choose the tools based upon that purpose. Yeah, there is intention, right? And I think what people think, I was talking to Luke the other day actually, and it's very similar to the idea of talent. Okay, so people say this person is really, really, really talented, yeah, which is why they make great music. Yeah, it's a very similar thought, feeling, belief to this person has these moogs, so he makes great music. It's the same idea, and it's erroneous. It has elements of truth to it, for sure, right? And that's what makes it even more dangerous, right? It's like, I don't have this thing, therefore I can't do it. I don't have talent, therefore I can't do it. I don't have those moogs, therefore I can't do it. But it's missing out the fundamental thing that makes the music good in both cases. The creativity of the individual who is doing the music, right? The talent is, people have different starting points, but because of the way the human mind works, because it grows according to how you use it, talent is something that you grow. Yeah? What you start out with is simply a starting point. Yeah? Practice is what makes the talent grow. Similarly, in terms of equipment, yeah, yes, this is a starting point, but how you use it, how you practice with it, what you say no to, what you say yes to, how you creatively use it is the thing that means that I make the music that sounds like me, and somebody else on YouTube says, I don't get this subharmonicon, it's crap, which is what a lot of people think. Right? It's not that I'm better than them, it's just that this speaks to me and maybe doesn't speak to them. So it's not the equipment, but at the same time it is. Right? What is what you want to do? How is what you want to do going to be delivered by these tools? What could be good tools to use in order to deliver on that purpose? And how could you use those tools in order to deliver on that purpose? That is the relationship you want with the tools. It isn't the tools, but it is the tools. Okay? So I hope that has all been helpful. I was going to talk more about other stuff, but I've been going on almost an hour and a quarter now. I don't think I have been going on an hour and a quarter. So I'm going to stop right now because I need to make some music. What I'll probably do is just sort out the setup and then just go live in a bit. But yeah, I mean, in future kind of diary videos, I'm going to talk about acceptance, because one of the fundamental things that I've had to come to terms with is accepting certain things about myself, and I think this is really important for people to understand as well, which is, if you want to make the best music you can, there is a level of accepting what you are and what you're good at that is absolutely essential, and also what you're bad at, and also some things that maybe you're embarrassed about. Okay, because in order to really, really do that, sometimes you just need to be you, right, rather than be someone else. And that's really been a big thing with this for me. It's why the music sounds like it does. And you know, sometimes I make myself cringe when I'm making the music, but I know that it is me. Yeah, so it's like very similar to when sometimes I think about what I've said in the live stream and I'm like, oh God, why did I say that? It's exactly the same thing. Same thing in music. Yeah, but there is a level of acceptance, and I think that's one of the reasons that it is as it is. Yeah. And then I was also going to share some mistakes that I made, which really were the breakthroughs that led to me changing from the goal of a track a week to an album a week. But I think I've talked enough for today. So just before I finish, has anyone got any questions at all? Yeah, I know Colin Benders well. I've been watching his stuff for a while, and obviously I'm inspired to a certain extent by Colin Benders. He's amazing, absolutely amazing. Actually, something else that I discovered yesterday was Suzanne Ciani. Believe it or not, I'd never heard of Suzanne Ciani until the day before yesterday, which is ridiculous, I know. But I listened. It was like I was listening to Why We Bleep, right, which is a podcast by Mylar Melodies. He's got a nice YouTube channel, and he was, it's kind of a modular-y podcast, but I'm not really listening to it for that. I'm just kind of listening to how people think. And anyway, I was listening to Sing, and someone mentioned Suzanne Ciani, and I went to the Bandcamp page of one of her albums, and literally I pressed play, and it was literally, I was like, oh my, this sounds very, very similar to the kind of thing that I'm doing, because it was like a piano and this kind of these bleeps going on. So that was something else as well. Suzanne, is it Susanna or Suzanne? Let me just find. I'll find the Spotify. She's amazing. It's really amazing, beautiful music. She's been doing it for years. Trouble is with me, I've been so busy making music and for the last few years building this business, I'm so not down with so many different. There we go. Or is it Susanna? I'll tell you what. I'll go Ciani. Here we go, Suzanne Ciani. What was it I played? It was this. I'm not going to play it now because I don't want to get in trouble. So yeah, it was this Denali. Just play that, and it sounds quite, it's quite funny. I was like, oh, blimey, that's something that I need to listen to a bit more because it kind of has some of the similar ideas around it. Fantastic. Ro, you are too kind. I'm glad. Oh, hang on, that doesn't work, does it? Hang on. You are too kind. I'm glad that you're enjoying the stuff that I'm doing. The next few videos are probably just going to be me playing with this slight addition to the setup. I'm going to share, as I said, some stuff going forward. I'll probably do one of these kinds of videos once a week or something. I don't know. I don't like to make promises because this is much more of an ad hoc thing. So, yep, I'm going to get on with the rest of my day now and love you and leave you. Yeah, that's it for today. So, all that's left to say is say goodbye. Say goodbye, Mother. And say goodbye, Subharmonicon. Yeah, and say goodbye, DFAM. All right, there we go. All right, and goodbye from me. So until next time, onwards and upwards.